And welcome back to the Dolphins, or more aptly, the Florida-only challenge here on Madden 23. It's going to be our second off-season. And an off-season, we really need to attack the offense, and it's going to have to come through free agency or making trades. There's guys we could bring in to help the defense who has been the best part of this team. I want to say last season they finished, I think, 7th best defense in the league. Offense was 30th and has continued to hold us back. We finished off 6-11, a half game better than the season prior. So we need to make a lot of adjustments this offseason, bring in some guys who could really help get this team going. But first, a couple awards possibly to go through. And first thing I noticed is Ritter. We played him earlier this year, and dude had ice in his veins, or that dog in him, whatever we prefer to say now. I don't know. A lot of different things, but he played amazingly well, and he deserves to be in the Pro Bowl for sure. The other quarterbacks are going to be Allen, Wilson, Rodgers, Tannehill, and Watson. And then running backs are going to be Taylor, Hunt, Montgomery, Henry, Elliott, and Akers. Cam Akers did make it. He had, I want to say, about 600 some odd receiving yards, and I want to say 1,200, or a little shy of 1,200 rushing yards. So about 1,800 total yards, which is really good. So our first Pro Bowler is Cam Akers. Fullbacks, Johnson, Janovich, Juszczyk, and Ingold, with the receivers being Evans, Samuel, Landry, Metcalf, Allen, Adams, Boyd, Woods, Myers, and Hill. And St. Brown and Chenault Jr. So no receivers for us. Tight ends are going to be Smith, Pitts, Goddard, Kittle, Ertz, and Njoku. Maybe we are able to trade for Njoku this offseason, or at the end of the offseason. Hopefully, maybe we'll see. The left tackles are Williams, Armstead, Tunsil, and Bakhtiari. Left guard, Batonio, Nelson, Tooney, and Jenkins, with centers being Kelsey, McCoy, Jensen, and Lindsley. Right guards Teller, Zeitler, Martin, and Lindstrom, with right tackles being Wirfs, Sewell, Johnson, and Ramczyk. Left ends are Young, Watt, Agba, and Clowney. Right end Quinn, Donald, Bosa, and Garrett. DTs are going to be Jones, Clark, Buckner, Hill, Settle, and Rankins. So Tim Settle, unfortunately not in this series, is in our Cardinals franchise though. Left outside linebacker Watt, Crosby, Gary, and Barrett, with middle linebackers being Murray, Kendricks, Barnes, and Campbell. Right outside linebackers Parsons, Thompson, Highsmith, and Mack. Corners are going to be Ramsey, Dantzler, Moore, Davis, Lattimore, Humphrey, Bradbury, and Jackson, with the safeties being Malone, Matthew, Elliott, Poyer, Jackson, Bayard. I can never remember. I think it's Bayard. Delpit, and Petrie. Kickers are going to be Seibert, Fox, Bass, and Gillen. And the returners are Barden, Jackson, Knox, and Thompson. So we only had one, but that was an improvement on last season. And as for the yearly awards, MVP goes to Desmond Ritter. He had a great year, for sure. Expected his overall to be higher with such a fantastic year. Coach of the year goes to Mike McCarthy. I don't know about that. On the AFC side, Offensive Player of the Year is Davante Adams, with Cam Akers being third. Defensive Player of the Year, Miles Jack, and no one at least in the top 7 for us. Offensive Rookie goes to Dylan Gallagher. Defensive Rookie goes to DeMar Lyons, with Chauncey Felder in second. That would have been real nice. Best Quarterback, Mac Jones, with Best Running Back being Zeke Elliott, Cam Akers in second. We're just barely missing out on some trophies, I guess you could say. Best Receiver, Davante Adams. Best O-Line, Zach Martin. Best D-Line, Von Miller, with Best Linebacker going to Alex Highsmith. Best DB, Marshawn Lattimore. And Best Kicker, Zane Gonzalez. So we came close on a couple things, but didn't actually get it, and McPherson down at 7 for kicker. For the NFC, Offensive Player of the Year, Chris Godwin. Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt. Cole Chaney wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. with Defensive Rookie of the Year going to Steve Malone. Best quarterback, Desmond Ridder. Best running back, Jonathan Taylor. With best receiver being Chris Godwin, who was their Offensive Player of the Year. Jason Kelsey, best O-line. Chase Young, best D-line. TJ Watt, best linebacker. Cameron Dantzler wins best DB. Shout out to the Vikings. And then best kicker, Austin Seibert. And the Super Bowl winner of year 2 is the Las Vegas Raiders, beating the Rams 35-24. The Super Bowl MVP is Jelani Tavai, middle linebacker. That's kind of crazy. And the 5th Super Bowl championship for the Las Vegas Raiders. I can't remember who won the last year. It was the Raiders. They've won back-to-back Super Bowls. Okay, well, Raiders the team to beat apparently. And surprisingly, only one retiree, and that is Xavier Rhodes. We expected that he could retire. But I definitely would have thought JPP would have retired, but apparently he's coming back. Don't know what his overall's down to, but Rhodes does retire, but we were prepared for that. But now that leaves us at a point that we can negotiate with our leftover free agents, or our closed free agent period, if you will. And Trey Hendrickson is up to negotiate. And I was wanting to use him as trade candy this offseason. However, he does not have much interest in staying with us. So if we just make this a 2-year, $20 million offer, he would like to play for a new team next year. But what is the franchise tag for him? $15 million. So we would actually save $5 million a season and could still end up trading him. That could very well be what we do. Denzel Perriman is only a linebacker for us in base formations, which we honestly don't play a whole lot of. Chauncey Felder is pretty much the linebacker that's out there the most. Now, Tyler Tart, being 27 years old and I think our highest overall DT, I would like to keep him around. I think a 3-year deal would be solid. This would be about $8 million a season, and we have plenty of cap space. And that's exactly the offer he was hoping for, so that works out for us. Now, Jawan Taylor is one of our best offensive linemen, so I don't want to lose out on him. So we'll just make this a pretty decent deal here for him, expecting about $11.5 million a season. This would be more than that, but he doesn't have a whole lot of interest in us, and he's not interested in signing right now. We will have to offer a lot of money in open free agency because we need to make sure we keep the best offensive line that we can. James Pierre, I would like to bring back. He's kind of the guy that I have in line to take over Xavier Rhodes' spot. So I'll offer him a decent deal here, expecting about $2.5 million a season. So let's make this 2.7 for 3 years. And we'll get the job done there. I almost forgot, we actually do still need to franchise tag Hendrickson. So we'll do that, we'll lock him down, he could still be traded later. And looking through the entire free agent pool, at least for top-end talent, nothing major on offense, at least nothing that would be much of an upgrade, just a lateral move for guys we already have. So pretty much the moves we're going to make here is going to be mostly re-signings, trying to bring back Denzel Perriman as a backup linebacker, maybe a mentor-ish, although I don't really know if he has that actual trait to him. Trying to bring back Jawan Taylor. And we have some stiff competition with the Broncos, and every time I look at this, it changes who's on top. So no clue. Jawan Taylor might not be coming back. There is a tackle in the next draft, or in this draft, so it might force our hand, and we might have to go after him. Keanu Neal trying to bring him back, and maybe we bring in CJ Henderson, someone to help out in the cornerback group, and maybe have a little bit of a competition between Henderson and Pierre as to who gets that start in the slot. So wouldn't be bad to have competition. So I think we need to see if any of these guys sign with our first evaluation. And a few guys did end up signing somewhere. And CJ Henderson came to us. Jawan Taylor did not come back. He's headed to the Broncos. So we either have to trade for the only other Florida guy who is a starting caliber talent or we draft the tackle that's in the next draft, in this draft that we'll do today. Or otherwise, we're going to have a pretty bad starting tackle, so that's just how it is. Now, no one else is offering so far for Perriman or Neal, so we'll just continue to evaluate and see if they end up signing, and no one signed. Perriman now has several other guys interested. It's fine if he ends up going. We don't need to have him back. So evaluate one more time. And Perriman still has a bunch of offers. Keanu Neal does not. So for now, we're good. And looking at the trade market, kind of, available players from Florida that we could try to trade for. The Giants have Trent Brown, an 84 overall left tackle. We now need a left tackle. And they would either want one of these two trades: our current second round pick and next year's third, or Cam Akers and DJ Humphries, our starting right tackle, which is completely out of the book because right now the only offensive weapon we really have is Cam Akers, and then also losing another starting tackle. No. So they would want basically a 2 and then a future 3. We would have to maybe come back to this at a later point and see if our second round pick is expendable. If we wanted to go after David Njoku, who is an 86 overall tight end, first of all, the player trades, no. But if we were wanting to go for trading draft picks, it would require a current 2, future 2, and then a current 7, which is a lot for a tight end and does not make a lot of sense. If we wanted to trade for Gabe Davis at receiver, an 86 overall, it would also take a current 2, a future 2, and then a current 4th. That makes more sense than David Njoku. Still though, might be a bit much. But here's a pick to bring in the highest rated receiver that we would have on roster, and that I think is reasonable and lets us get as much in as we can now and maybe do some trading or something in the future to get it back. But Kadarius Toney from the Falcons, 25 years old, 82 overall. All they want is a future 3 and a 5. We would keep all of our draft picks this year. I think that's the best thing that's popped up so far. So Kadarius Toney, we will trade for him, and we'll bring in the highest overall receiver on our roster. And in the next round of free agent offers, trying to bring back Tommy Townsend, the punter, so we don't have to draft or try to sign after the draft the punter. Keanu Neal still doesn't have any other offers. Trying to bring in Dante Fowler Jr. to take over that role that JPP was playing as a mentor slash just rotational guy. Trying to bring back Sheldrick Redwine, again, backup safety. Now, Rashard Jenkins now actually has some decent offers. He was a young guy, 22 years old, so second year, and was a free agent. So try to bring him in, but definitely needed to progress a good bit. So if he goes to one of the other teams, no problem there. Trying to bring back Ryan Izzo once again, and James Morgan as our backup QB. So let's evaluate these offers. And now back to down to just 3. Tommy Townsend still hasn't signed, Sheldrick Redwine hasn't, or Ryan Izzo, but we're still the only offers. We've brought back Keanu Neal, brought in Dante Fowler Jr., and James Morgan is back as our backup quarterback. So we'll just evaluate these again, see if they join, and no, but still no other offers. Evaluate for a third time, and no, but still no other offers. So that is us done for here, at least. And now into stage 3, still no offers besides ours for these guys. So let's evaluate. And they're no longer on there. So did we end up bringing him in? Townsend back to be our punter. And Izzo is back. And wasn't there a third guy? Or was it Dante? I can't remember now, but I feel like one of the guys we were trying to sign did not sign with us. Either way, I think we got most of our needs, and now we can focus on the draft. So let's go position by position. Obviously, we know now no quarterbacks in this class. There is a round 2 to 3 running back who seems okay, but I don't think we really need to go after him. He's a receiving back. That doesn't really fit what we do. Potential fullback we could bring in if we were looking for a blocking fullback, maybe if he's available after the draft. Receiver, I feel like we could potentially use someone to bring in. There was around 2 to 3 who went up 11 spots throughout the season, and Dexter Peterson out of USF. But he doesn't have a lot of speed. I mean, his speed is okay, but nothing stands out at least athletically. And in the skill set, C catching traffic, C to F catching, C medium route running with D release, C to F deep route, B medium or B short route running, it'd be fine. But if like this shouldn't be a quality receiver, right? Just doesn't sound good. And the other draftable option really isn't any better. So the receiving group, big letdown, no tight ends available in this class. There's a day 3 or a couple day 3 offensive linemen. None look all too promising. Maybe Larry Forbes as pure backup. But yeah, none of the left tackles look all too good. Potential undrafted, or did I say left guard, left tackles? Potential undrafted left guard, potential undrafted centers. Right guard, there is Steven Steele that I had selected as a focus scout earlier in the season because I wanted some more information on him. Out of Miami, and not great strength, but would primarily be a backup work in progress kind of guy with F lead block, you think maybe tackle. And if so, guy's a great pass blocker. B pass block with A pass block finesse and B pass block power. Run blocking isn't going to be great, but as a pure pass blocker, move him to the outside. You don't need that lead block skill set, and has A awareness and impact block. As a day 3, you have a potential guy. I wouldn't say a starter year 1, maybe year 2. You could put him in. Wouldn't be super high overall, I wouldn't imagine, but as a day 3 prospect, I think Steven Steele is actually really good. At right tackle, which we need a starting tackle now, the only real guy we could go with on offense early round is Robert Bush, 6'6", 311, 22 years old, out of Florida State. He has actually pretty good speed, decent bench reps, 4 more during his college pro days. It seems interesting. I'll check the weight of their weights that they're using. He is not much of a power blocker. Could start day 1. I would imagine maybe a later first round pick with C for pass block and run block, D pass block power, C run block power, but A finesse for both pass and run. It's intriguing for sure. It's not the best talent, but it's the best offensive line talent, and we need offensive line help for sure. Over at the left end spot, we have Eric Muldrow, who did drop 1 spot through the season. Not fully scouted, and not amazing, I would say. 6'5", 266 is more of an edge rush kind of guy. From the physical standpoint, solid speed, strength is there. I mean, solid athlete. But he's very one-dimensional. For a first-round pick, you want them to be multi-dimensional, but D block shedding and power moves, A finesse moves. He's basically Hendrickson in reincarnate. Just a strict finesse rusher. So do we trade him to then bring in the exact kind of player who's actually a little bit smaller? I don't know. At the right end spot, you have potential undrafted in day 3. And as a day 3 with B finesse moves, Mike Dockett could be intriguing later on. At DT, we have a projected round 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. And very similar to the other defensive linemen, Dalton Randolph is one-dimensional. He has some decent speed, decent size. He actually has pretty good speed with decent strength, acceleration. He's a solid athlete and is a little bit better in terms of being multi-dimensional with C, block shedding, and finesse moves. Does bring the A power moves with B, awareness and play rec. And injury is better than the other defensive linemen. 23 years old, it's okay. If this was a long-term sim or long-term franchise, would like to go younger, but he's a potential first-round guy. It might be that we drop back into the first round and just kind of pick as we go. In the 3rd to 4th round, though, you get Earl Ferguson, who's honestly very similar, but a much bigger dude. 6'4", 357. This guy is thick. And he has the strength, has no speed, but expected. Does have B block shedding with C finesse moves and power moves. C awareness, B play rec, B tackle, A impact block and injury. Earl Ferguson is very interesting in that 3rd to 4th round. It's someone we could definitely bring in, and maybe that makes someone like Taylor Tart expendable, depending on how good he ends up being. There's also a lot of potential undrafteds underneath them. And in the 1st to 2nd round at left outside linebacker, there is Tracy Lamonta something. He's 6'3", 257, 21 years old, out of Florida State. Has some bench reps, some speed. Is a decent enough kind of rusher. Has B power moves as well as block shedding. Is an intriguing guy. There's a lot of potential guys we could go with early, and I think they're all kind of on the same level. There is a little bit later, a 3rd to 4th round guy in Adonis Edwards out of Florida. And he, again, has some speed, a little less strength. And B finesse moves with C to F block shed. So a lot of guys that I feel like are in the same range. I don't think there's a standout player in this class, which kind of makes me feel like I don't have to go at a certain position. In terms of cornerback help, because we could potentially go there in the 2nd to 3rd round, Taylor Jordan, 5'11", 189, 23 years old, out of Florida. He has some speed, not much strength, but his skill set shows he can press with man and zone both being C's. So, intriguing. But again, just like the rest of the draft, like I don't. There's no top end guys available for us at free safety, potential undrafted, and strong safety at day 3, Matt Banks. There's also a kicker and a punter if you're interested. But yeah, I really don't think there is a specific guy besides the left tackle or right tackle that we need to go after because we need a starting tackle. So this draft is really just going to be choose best available and go from there. So let's get the draft day underway. We're actually picking 9th. So quite a few teams actually somehow played worse than we did. But let's take a look at the board and see where our guys are falling. So obviously we want to go after Robert Bush, and he's a 1st round talent through and through. Selected him for our last round of focus scouting, so we can find out as much as possible. And he is a 1st round guy with a sub 540 at right tackle, or technically he would be playing left tackle. Not really sure you need that, but he has a good potential bit of strength. Strength is listed as great, so probably more towards the 34 reps would be the actual. And there's some good ratings here. In terms of finesse blocking, really good. Definitely wouldn't be the best, but he is the #1 right tackle in this draft class. And they actually have him going at 12. So we pick at 9. That might fit very well for us, actually. Could he be taken before then? That's always a possibility. At left end, the top guy for us is the 4th quote-unquote best. So I don't think it's a rush to try to get to him. And maybe some of these guys fall into the 2nd round. At right end, best guy available is a day 3, so we're fine. At DT, Dalton Randolph is #2. So does he drop to the 1st or 2nd round? Maybe not. He does have A power moves and C finesse moves and block shedding, so could be solid there. But the other guy, the day 3 guy, or later round guy, around 3 to 4, who's much bigger, provides some block shedding with some finesse and power rush moves. Maybe that would be a better area for us to go after. We have a 1st round pick, a 2nd round pick, a 4th, 5th, 6th, and a 7. So we're missing our 3rd round pick, which we used to trade for Cam Akers. So he would have to fall down to the 4th round, or we pick him up in the 2nd. At left outside linebacker, top guy for us is Tracy something, and he's the 3rd best. And we did select him as well for one of the last rounds of scouting to just try to help shore up some of this information. B power moves, B block shedding, C finesse moves. Could be someone that we could play on the opposite side of Phillips when in a base 3-4, but we also did sign Dante Fowler, so it's not an area of major need. And at corner, the top guy for us is down at 6. So we really, besides the top first pick, which will most likely have to be the tackle, we really don't have much to go after here. So let's start getting through this draft. With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Bengals select Lewis McCollum, quarterback, Northern Illinois. The Giants select with the second pick, Sammy Atkins, left end, Kansas. The Commanders with the third overall pick, Lamar Chapman, left outside linebacker, Clemson. And the Chargers select quarterback out of Syracuse, Frank Frederickson. I don't know why that was so difficult for me to read originally. Panthers with a 5th round pick select right tackle Robert Bush out of Florida State. Well, that changes things for us by quite a bit. He ends up going, they expected him to go 7 picks early. That's unfortunate. Really is unfortunate. Lions, with their 1st round pick, select quarterback Dexter Costello, Appalachia State. The Vikings select with the 7th overall pick, Rod Young, quarterback out of Dayton. And the Bucks with the 8th pick, Marcus Beckwith, DT, Texas. Now we're on the clock, and there's probably nothing we need to go after at the top here. We could maybe even try to trade this pick and pick up a left tackle, maybe? It's always a possibility. In terms of guys available for us, I mean, we need offensive line help. There's no one until later round. Steven Steele is around 3 to 4, so a possibility. Do we end up selecting him later to be a starter? In terms of his blocking ratings, B, pass block, A, pass block finesse, B, pass block power. Don't ask him to run block at all, which is a problem because we're right now a running team. I don't know, puts us in a weird spot. Might need to see if we can make that trade for Trent Brown with this 1st round pick, because I don't think picking up any of these defensive linemen would really be the right fit right now. And I was just trying to gauge roughly how much they would be interested, and I think this trade is fantastic for us. We will be bringing in Trent Brown, giving up our 1st round pick, the 9th overall, to drop to the 34th overall pick, basically the 2nd pick in the 2nd round. And we bring in our highest overall offensive lineman. I think we very much win that trade. Maybe we should have gave more, but I'll take it. So now, simming to that 2nd round pick, we have the 2nd pick in the 2nd round as well as the 9th. And we're just going to see who the best player available is. One of these picks, we might end up picking up Steele. Maybe we'll try to wait till that 4th round pick. Again, if we go take a look at him, round 3 to 4, 4 would maybe be a good spot considering he's a day 3, could go earlier. Does need some development for sure, so hard to tell, but I think now we go take a look over at the defensive side. The left tackle our left end is gone. And in terms of the DTs, the top DT is gone. Earl Ferguson is probably who I actually preferred in terms of the DTs. So I think, again, works out just fine. Tracy Lamontague something is still available. Round 1 to 2 projected. And the corner also available round 2 to 3. Don't think he's a high end 2, but could pick him with our 2nd pick in the 2nd round. I think that would be a solid pick. So I think in terms of bringing in best available, if we just take a look at our overall board, I think the outside linebacker is going to be the highest available player left. And yeah, that looks like it is. So we will definitely be going with the linebacker, which means I'm going to need to learn how to pronounce his name. But our first pick in this draft will be for left outside linebacker out of Florida State, Tracy Lamontagne something. The end part, I'm just not sure. Latang, mate? Lamontagne? Probably wrong. But Tracy, you're our first pick in this class and a normal dev, but has 84 speed, 83 strength, 82 agility with 86 accelerations, 21 years old, and he'll learn from Dante Fowler or start over Dante Fowler. We'll see how good he ends up being. And now our corner is still there, but before I pick him, we do only have the second, then the 4 and 5. Now I talked about really liking the DT, Earl Ferguson, still there around 3 to 4. But we also really like Stephen Steele, who has moved up to around 3 to 4. Do we risk him going before 5? Do we maybe trade down a few spots and pick up maybe a 3? I think it's worth taking a look at the trade options. And this offer for the Patriots is very intriguing. Drop to 56 overall and pick up a 3rd round pick. That might just do it. The corner might end up going before then. But I feel like that's maybe a safe bet. So we'll gamble on it, and we'll make this trade with New England. Now I know that's technically a trade within division, but we're going to pick up some extra picks, and hopefully it'll pan out here for us. And our guy is still here. So we drop back to later in the 2nd round. We'll have a late 3rd round pick. But Taylor Jordan is still here, trying to just amp up the cornerback group. He has some decent size, 23 years old, a little bit on the older side. Solid speed. Strength could be a little bit better. Will definitely be a developmental guy. But C-man coverage and C-zone with B-press can tackle a little bit of block shedding. He could hit, apparently, a hit power. Decent stamina. C tackling as well. I think he'll be a solid guy to help try to develop. So Taylor Jordan is in. Another normal dev with 91 speed, 95 change of direction, 93 acceleration. He at least has the agility of a solid corner. And so far that trade is working out for us. Earl Ferguson is still available. And at right guard, Stephen Steele still available. We'll be picking again fairly shortly. So I think what we're going to do is go with the DT first, and then we'll go with the offensive lineman. So Earl Ferguson is selected, and he's a hidden dev. 93 strength, almost said speed. That would be insane. 72 acceleration, 59 speed. We'll see how good he ends up being, but that's our first hidden dev of this class. And now simming forward to that 4th round pick, Stephen Steele is still available. Or Stephen Steele? Stephen Steele? I think Stephen Steele. Either way, he's going to be our pick, and hopefully he's a steal. Normal dev, 84 strength, 68 speed, 75 acceleration. Was really hoping for a hidden dev with him, but who knows? Maybe we struck gold on a late potential starting future tackle. Or maybe guard. Probably tackle though, because he definitely is a pass blocker. Now into the 5th round. There's a round 3 to 4 receiver that didn't look all too interesting. Some day 3 offensive linemen, a lot of potential undrafted. A day 3 right end with potential multi-talented skill set. So Mike Dockett is interesting. There's a strong safety day 3 available, but that is about it in terms of draftable position guys. So Mike Dockett, 6'5", 267, 23 years old, out of UCF. Physicals, has a lot of speed, not a whole lot of strength, but if he stays down on the line, will go up with our coaching boosts. He has a lot of speed and agility as well. B finesse moves with B to D block shedding. He is listed as a speed rusher, so doubt it would be a B. But at this point, we're day 3, we're taking shots on people. Mike Dockett is selected, and a normal dev with 84 speed, 77 strength, 81 acceleration. We'll see where he fits best. And with a 6th-round pick, we're going to take a shot on a running back, potential undrafted, Demarius Traylor, out of Florida State, 6 foot, 225, 23 years old, ran around a 4.5, so has some speed, but not top end, has some strength for sure, with some decent agility. His skill set, though, seems intriguing, with B ball carrier vision, break tackle, and carrying, A to C trucking. We could use some developmental running backs, so why not? Let's take a shot here on Traylor. And normal dev, with 89 speed, it's actually pretty good. 90 acceleration, 85 agility, 78 strength. Who knows, maybe we found a diamond in the rough. And with our last pick, we're going to select Matt Banks, safety. Not sure he'll make the final 53 man. He doesn't appear to have great coverage ability, but he's really the only draftable guy that's not a receiver that looks awful. So Matt Banks, you're going to be our last pick, and he's at least a hidden dev. That is going to be 2 hidden devs in this class, 87 speed, 92 acceleration, with 88 change of direction. Maybe he ends up being a little bit good. And now we can find out the actual information about the guys that we drafted. And I see at least 4 guys with a 70 plus overall, so that's not too bad at all. Then the later round guys, 267s and a 64, and a guy we completely took a shot on. I don't think that's too bad. So let's get to know the new guys here. And Tracy is up first, left outside linebacker with 84 speed, has 77 power moves and 73 block shedding. Could definitely start over Dante Fowler and just use Dante as a backup mentor kind of guy. I think that could be very solid here. He does have a little bit of an injury concern, so it's good we do have Dante. I don't think that's a bad pick. I think that actually fits very well. And the rookie cornerback ends up being a 73 overall, Taylor Jordan. And ratings, again, not too bad. He has the chance to get in that fight for the slot between Henderson Pierre and now Taylor Jordan. Yeah, I think that works very well. 64 catching, could be a little bit higher. 73 hit power, though, is nice. Block shed is a bit low, and tackling is a 60. So yeah, he could definitely fit in that slot role. We'll just have to see who ends up playing better. And the DT first undrafted Earl Ferguson ends up being a 70 overall, with the boost from our coaching goes up to a 72. His ratings, solid guy to stuff the run in the middle. 97 strength, 75 block shedding, with 69 power moves and 63 finesse moves. Definitely has some room to improve for sure, but gives us depth and makes some of our older guys expendable for sure. So I think that all ends up working out. And then we end up picking up Stephen Steele, a 71 overall in the 4th round. I would say is definitely a steal. With the coaching boost, goes up to a 72. And honestly, if you look past the run block power, I see someone here who could start. And he might end up finding a spot somewhere on the team to start. He might end up playing in front of Holcomb, who came in as a spot starter last year. Definitely gives us some flexibility. It's nice with Madden 23. We are finding starting caliber offensive linemen past the 1st round. And in previous draft classes, it wasn't all too common. And our first non-70 overall, currently actually a -1 with the morale down to a 66, but is a 67. We have Mike Dockett. And he could play maybe a mixture of both inside, outside, is a raw talent player with 84 speed, 81 acceleration, 81 strength with the boost, has 73 finesse moves, not counting the morale that's dropping him, is strictly a finesse rusher for sure, but at least is a solid base for him to build on. And the running back we drafted, Demarcus Traylor, ends up being also a 67 overall, And he has 89 speed, 90 acceleration, 77 break tackle. Expected that to maybe be a little bit higher considering it was the same rating B as carrying, which is an 86. Juke move though, 78 with trucking, 81. And yeah, 79 ball carrier vision. I see someone here who could rival a little bit of playing time with Ernest Johnson and fits kind of the power back, a little bit of elusiveness as well role that we've kind of created with Cam Akers to Ernest Johnson. Marlon Mack, I think we end up trading and bringing in like a 5th round pick or something for him. But yeah, I think that fits pretty well. Very interested in Demarius Trailer, my bad. And then we take a shot with our 7th round pick on Matt Banks. It ends up being that hidden dev safety out of Florida who just can't cover. He could kind of hit. He's a developmental guy, 100%. He's much better at man coverage than zone coverage, so definitely fits the strong safety role. He's very durable too, 98 injury, 93 stamina, so developmental guy, practice squad, maybe. If we put him on the practice squad, he could very well end up being scooped up because he has the hidden dev. And now I also ran through and added any free agents or undrafted rookies that have a shot at getting better. So here's what the final roster looks like at the end of the preseason. Quarterbacks stay the same. Jameis Winston with his backup, James Morgan. Running backs are going to be Cam Akers to Ernest Johnson. Marlon Mack could be traded next episode. Demarius Trailer. And then we also brought in, or what we did have, Chad Harden. In the receiving group, Kadarius Toney we brought in. If you forgot about that and you're like, oh, it didn't have a great draft, we did bring in a couple different starters on offense through trades, him included. We also have Van Jefferson, Valdez Scantling, Traquan Smith, Trey Nixon, and Hottailing, all returning from last year. Also brought in Jonathan Pittman and Jordan Mercer. At tight end, we're going to run the same 3, Herndon, Izzo, and Frazier. Left tackles, we have new starter Trent Brown. Roderick Johnson returns from last year. We signed Deshaun Hayes, undrafted. And Edwards, I believe, was with us last year. And Forsyth very well might be cut this season. Eric Flowers was a starter for us last year. Donnie Holcomb was a spot starter, and maybe he still finds the starting role. We'll find out. Dominique Ramsey, potential undrafted pickup. Or was an undrafted pickup. Antonio Carr, starter for us last year. Ben Moreland was on the practice squad. Might still be headed back there. At right guard, Stephen Steele is a 72, so he might get the start. And Ryder can back up. Maybe he ends up getting cut. And Brandon Walton in his one game playing didn't play very well, so he could also potentially be cut. We'll see. Right tackle DJ Humphries returns from last year with his backup Cameron Irving. At left end, we still have Trey Hendrickson. We may end up trading him, not quite sure. Behind him, Mario Edwards and Chad Thomas, same backups as last year. Grenard, Fowler will get moved to an outside linebacker spot. Chauncey Pope and Mike Dockett was one of our later round draftees. I want to say 5th round. At DT, we have a lot of them. Taylor Tart will definitely continue to start. But Taven Bryan and Deadrian Sennett, I think, can be traded or cut. If we're being honest, I think Earl Ferguson deserves a shot to get out there and play a good bit. We also have some younger guys who aren't too far off, but what we have with Taven Bryan and Deadrian Sennett. So I think we go with the younger guys. Most of them not going to make the final 53-man. We have a lot of them. So we'll either be cut or sent to the practice squad. At left outside linebacker, Jalen Phillips with 2nd round pick, first pick of the draft, Tracy Lamontague something. I'll figure it out by the next episode. He'll move over to the other outside linebacker spot. In the middle, we'll have Alex Anzalone and Chauncey Felder. Marcel Harris will back up, and Jeremiah Moon probably ends up being cut. If he has any eligibility for practice squad, he could go there. Same with Cameron Choice. At right end, we will have both Dante Fowler as well as Tracy. And Joshua Kando maybe stays on the roster. We'll see. Now, at cornerback, we have our definite starters on the outside with Shaquille Griffin and Lonnie Perriman. And then in the slot, we'll have the competition between Henderson James Pierre, and pick Taylor Jordan. Backing them up, we have a variety of different guys. Damian Beasley probably goes back to the practice squad, and we had an undrafted rookie in Kevin Goodwin, also practice squad. And Isaiah Brown and Tay Gowan might not make the roster. Free safety Frank Stump will be going into his second year, with Sheldrick Redwine backing up, and Bubba Bolden might be playing backup strong safety. We'll see. It'll be between him and Matt Banks. Banks maybe stays on the roster just because of that hidden dev, but he definitely needs to improve his coverage ability. Kicker, as always, the one and only Evan McPherson. And punter, we finally have a Florida punter this year. So that is what the final roster looks like. And we end up having an overall of a 78. So we went down or stayed about even. The defense, I know, went down, but the offense has gone up a good bit. And after we make the cuts and move everyone to where they need to be, that is very likely to go up. So the number one goal was to get the offense better, and we've definitely done that. Brought in Kadarius Toney and Trent Brown. Will that help Jameis Winston? We can only find out by sticking around. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscription button, and while you're right next to it, tick the little bell icon to be notified of when this series goes live, or just when videos in general on this channel go live, but for this series it helps. This series posted every Wednesday and Saturday, with my Cardinals traditional franchise posted on Monday and Thursday. So if you're looking for some more traditional Madden content, make sure you check out that series if you haven't already. We definitely had a lot happen this offseason. We've gotten better on offense. Defense at least stayed the same, if not got a little better themselves. So progress made. Let's just see if it actually looks like it on the field. But until then, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.